Welcome to the Leading with Empathy podcast. My guest today is Tavis Shearer of TRS Consulting, and I've got to say this is one of the more fun podcast episodes I've had for a while. Tavis is a big personality. He's a big guy. He's got a lot of experience in recruitment, in the ups and downs of life, and it was a really fascinating sort of open discussion. We talked about pirates and mavericks and different ways in which we interact with each other at work, and it sounds like he's got such an amazing passion for his work. I think you'll really love the episode. This is Tavis Shearer. G'day, Tavis. How you going, mate?
Very well, mate. How's yourself?
Really good, really good. It's actually a bit warm up here in Queensland at the moment. I know it's probably not so much where you are.
What the fuck are you talking about, man? It's freezing down here, but it's Melbourne.
It is Melbourne. Look, so glad to have you on the podcast. Really keen to learn a bit more about you and your business and how you do what you do. We obviously know each other through the good John Sermon, who's one of
Good friend of ours.
the best networkers I think in
Oh, he's mad.
Australia. But look, I'd love to learn more about you and your business. What's the Tavis Shearer story?
Tavis Shearer's story is I am the founder and managing director of TRS Resourcing. We're an industrial recruitment labour hire company operating headquartered out of Melbourne, and I have a small satellite office in Sydney. I guess our claim to fame is I bought a lot of automation and technology that was used in white collar recruitment into a blue collar space, and that's right through saw AI sourcing through our database, and I guess we've been operating now for 7 years slash going into the next period of our growth. And yeah, it's something that I've been in recruitment 23 years. I had a company out of Perth that didn't quite end up going so well, so I came to Melbourne 8 years ago and started again. But yeah, here I am today.
Yeah, and what dragged you into recruitment? Like, why recruitment? It's you're not
Uh,
when I work around Sydney and go to talk to recruiters, most of them are English for some reason. You're not English, but
no, I am from Adelaide though, and we do claim to be more Britain than British than Britain. Um, No, okay. I fell into recruitment. My qualifications is I have a diploma in hospitality management and I have a diploma in aquaculture, and I effectively sell people for a living. I got out of hospitality, sick of working 70, 80 hours a week for no money. I went back to TAFE and learned aquaculture, farming and water. I have a farming sort of background out of Perth. For a couple of years there, and then realized there was no money in that. So then I went back to working in a labour hire company, as I was doing through TAFE. And then from there, I asked them for a job and they gave me a job. And that was 23 years ago. And I've been effectively working for myself for the last 11 years. TRS has just been going over for 7 years now.
so why'd you go by on your own? Like, what was the impetus to?
I'm a horrendous employee. I am a horrendous fucking employee. I create mutinies in companies. I disagree at management meetings. I'll do everything that I shouldn't do as an employee, but it was tolerated because I was a good biller.
It's funny. One of the topics I talk about a lot is this idea of pirates and passengers. In our
Yep.
team, we have what you just described. I call the pirate, the person who pulls in a different direction, who doesn't toe the line. And I'd love to explore this with your
Yeah, absolutely.
experience. There's multiple ways I see people manage pirates, and your experience sounded like a classic one, which is, oh, if they hit their results, just try and ignore the tension they create. Just try and pretend it's all okay and let them go. Is
Yep.
that sort of what your experience was like?
It's very similar management style that I have at TRS Resourcing. Guide, stand back, give people boundaries to operate in, thing, and let's just see how we go. I don't agree with the over micromanagement structure. I think micromanagement is devil's work, and I'm not a massive fan in KPIs. If we're bringing KPIs into TRS Resourcing, it's because we want to remove someone from the business.
And yeah, I mean, it's interesting because one of the things I often say to people is, and it sounds like you've got this idea as well. The pirates often have some good ideas.
Mm,
They're often pulling in a different direction because they actually believe this could be better than what we're doing now.
yeah,
And you should talk to
absolutely.
them and find out why they think that, right?
Correct. I'm actually dyslexic, and my 2IC is Rachel, who's my CFO. We have very different management structures. Now, I'm really good with vision and saying, I think we need to pivot the company this way, even if we're highly profitable in one area. I feel that that is reducing, and then we're moving in a new direction. And Rachel's very good with the money. She's very good with the back end, making sure that we make this and that. Now, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I am a director of a liquidated company. That was my first recruitment company. I didn't have a Rachel. I didn't have that. We had all the vision in
Mm.
the world, but not the balance sheet to back it. And I truly believe that, pirates, mavericks, were generally all dyslexic. I've never met a maverick or a pirate that's not dyslexic. I'm sure they exist, but um, it's more about looking at a situation and then ideally moving the company in that direction, even if you've got a lot of people around you that are saying no, but at the same time as well, you can kind of back it up with factual of what you've seen, and then you can move the company that way. And this is why I had massive arguments with management when I was an employee. Sometimes I just learned to get the fuck out of my way, and I built a trades and labor division for the recruitment company I was working for in London called Resourcing Group. They'd never done blue collar labor before. They'd always done all the management stuff, and it turned out to be one of their most profitable biggest divisions. And I believe the people that still started in it are still going at it now.
So I want to explore this. There's some really interesting points here I want to sort of play with.
Yeah, absolutely.
One is that what I call a diversity paradox, right?
Yep.
Which is we like to work with people who are like us
Yep.
generally, but we need to work with people who are not like us. But sometimes that's harder.
Oh,
Let me
fuck yeah.
can we explore that?
Oh, absolutely.
What's
Yeah,
that? What's
absolutely.
that relationship like when you've got, I'm not going to.
No,
This
no, no.
is
I'll be brutally honest here, man. The relationship
yeah,
between me and Rachel is definitely unique, as in we have been known to scream at each other. We have been known to absolutely because we just disagree thing. But we have a situation where at some point we agree to disagree and we get on with it because but you need that different dynamic in a business. If everyone's a yes man, I don't know if you've watched the Monty Burns Simpsons episode where he goes broke and he's basically surrounded by yes men. You don't want a yes person culture in any business. It is the easiest way to blow up culture, blow up this and blow up that. If everyone's agreeing to go in the same direction, I'm the first one to say, stop, we're going to go that way.
yeah.
Because if the entire market's moving that way, it's because they're lazy.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I'm more about moving into markets before they become big.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah,
I mean, it's really hard to compete when everyone's doing exactly the same thing, right? It's
you compete on price.
yeah, you compete on price, and generally, unless you're big and scaled, you're not going to win that game very often. And even if you do win, you're scraping for pennies half the time. So, how when you have those um, disagreements, do you
Mm.
have a way that you sort of agree to resolve it? Like, is there a sort of a backup plan to go, okay, we know that when this happens, because it happens, we
Mhm.
sort of go down this path?
Yeah, I do. I think something that I've learned from many failures is you have to let people being heard. And I don't just mean talk and let them talk and wait for you to reply. You actually have to let people be heard in the business. You also have to let their opinion sink in. And you also have to reply in a way that you do understand what they're trying to say. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to say, I don't care, I'm going to pull rank on you. I think that's a dictatorship. And that has no place in modern day business, and in order to make sure that the company's going in the right direction is me as a leader, I have to be accountable to the people that work for the company. And if I've made a fuck up, I need to be the first to admit that and explain how I fucked up and what I'm going to do to rectify the situation. Because once you lose trust in the business, that's it. You're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. And I want to touch on that word because I 100% agree with you. And one of the things I see, I don't know if you see this
Hmm.
either in maybe the companies who come to you to recruit people
Yeah.
or also in ones you've worked in before, but sometimes we get trust mistaken for rapport. So I want to
Yes.
like you. I want us to be friends. I want us to be amicable. Because of that, I don't want to disagree with you. I don't want to argue with you. We'll never raise voices and we'll smile and nod because that will keep rapport. But that's really different from that relationship you got with Rachel, which is about trust.
Yeah. It's if yeah, I think everyone, to be brutally honest, is so worried about disagreeing with someone and being cancelled than actually speaking what they believe is the truth. Now, if if you're not letting people be heard and you're not being empathetic about that, you need to make sure that you better know what the fuck you're talking about. Because if you take the company in a direction that you're absolutely 100% convinced in and you're not listening to the feedback around you, and if it fucking goes pear-shaped or worse still, Chernobyl, you have no leg to stand on. Like you,
Yeah.
like done. Like yeah, and that's what you see in massive companies. Like imagine if Ansett had the same management philosophy. Everyone goes, "Who the fuck is Ansett?" Well, they were bigger than Qantas at one stage. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and all this just, oh, we're not going to make a decision. We're just going to move with this. We're not going to move with the times. Um, I we just had a meeting in the company today about a new automation coming into the business, and we're re-automating everything. Well, the argument is it's not broken, Tab. Why are we looking at doing it? Yeah, but it's more efficient to look at this. It's more efficient to do that. We need to start doing things differently within the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's hard to do, right? Because humans, we like to feel safe, comfortable, certain, even if what I have at the moment, I don't really love it, but I know what it is and I know what to
Mm,
expect. And so I'll
exactly.
hold on to that rather than this thing, which might be good, might be bad. That sounds dangerous. Can't I just stay here and keep making a comfortable living? And it sounds like the word that keeps sort of playing in the back of my mind when you're talking is this idea of we need that Maverick attitude of
Oh, fuck
actually,
yeah.
no, this is not good enough.
I couldn't agree more. I'll put it one step further. You need a dysfunctional circus.
Yeah.
You need a dysfunctional circus, especially in a sales environment. If you don't have a dysfunctional circus and you don't have a little bit of abrasion, like people wanting to do better, strive forward, push the business in a new direction, it's just mediocre. And it's
Mm.
it's like sales, recruitment, real estate, anything. The stress isn't worth just a normal salary. I'm really sorry, but it's not. And if you're going to succeed in a sales type business, yes, you need to do it in an empathetic way. I have no time for narcissists, none at all, right? And or narcissistic behavior, or even remotely that. I mean, that behavior has no place anymore. It's none at all. But I don't mind people competing against each other. I don't mind people like saying, I want to be better than that person. I don't mind people working back late. I don't mind this. I don't mind people disagreeing with me in meetings. It's something that if it's not happening and you're not getting that a little bit of abrasion,
Yeah.
something's seriously wrong.
Yeah, I often say it to I'll ask a leadership team, for example, oh, do you guys disagree much? And sometimes they'll proudly say, no, no, we're all on the same page. We agree all the time. And I'm like you, I'm like, that's terrifying because
Run.
you're dealing with really tough stuff. You've all got the same opinion. This is either groupthink or something's really wrong here. We've just managed
Yeah.
to be all perfect. It just doesn't sound right to me.
It sounds like you've got a long-term client on your hands there, Daniel. Like, yeah,
Well, look,
yeah.
and like a lot of places, I think we fall into these comfortable habits.
Mm,
Um, you learn. You probably didn't find this happen to you, but a lot of people get into those big companies and think probably easier and safer if I just toe the line here. Probably easier and safer if I don't cause a bit of friction, and I'll just sort of plod along. But unfortunately, and I'm keen to see if keen to ask if you see this in the recruitment area of your business as well. We tend to push people, or people start to migrate into what I call the valley of apathy. Like I go to work, I go home, I get paid. I think about work-life balance because I actually don't see work as part of my life. I think it is part of your life, but
Mm.
they sort of say, no, no, these are separate, and I have to suffer through this thing called work so that I can go and be happy elsewhere. Whereas I'm guessing, like me, you see it as no, no, it's all life, and we have to enjoy the whole bloody thing.
Okay, I'll answer this in two parts, all around recruitment. So I used to work with a lady called Frankie Piccolo in London. Frankie, now she started off as a resourcer with me, has massive, massive successful recruitment career. As far as I'm concerned, and if she's watching this, she's probably one of the best trades and labour recruiters in the whole of the UK, right? She would come in, bang on 9 o'clock, work, go to lunch, go home at 5 o'clock and turn off, make her money, go on a European holidays, do all that sort of stuff, right? And she was religious with it, right? And it really worked well for her. And she had that whole, I'm at work, I'm at home, but I'm at work to pay for my life outside of work. Okay. That was great. And that she absolutely killed it. Um, and then I see other people like me who incorporate the whole scenario into work, home, and life. So I do work a lot of hours at TRS, but I take most of January off and half of December. I'm gone. I am a ghost. I am bye bye. Right. And you will not find me. Um, and then I will work. And then a lot of people know me that I also own a fire breathing Mustang called Alana. And I will be gone with her on a Sunday. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to Bull Rush Rally this year with Simon. And so that's how I do my thing. I guess in order to be successful in all this sort of stuff, recruitment, sales, and stuff, is you need to work out what works for you. So a lot of people will go, oh, yes, I need it. If you're a person that gets involved in all aspects of your life, work, home, and that, but you're then told you need to be here at finish your work at 9 o'clock and you need to go home at 5 o'clock and you will have a lunch break when we tell you, you're not going to be successful because it's grating against your core values. Hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe people need to be successful is they need to understand who the fuck they are. What do I
Mm.
need to do? And then you also need leaders, empathetic leaders, to acknowledge that and then structure their desks around their habits. Like
Yeah.
I got recruiters who will come in at 9:15, 9:20, a couple of days. I don't micromanage. If you're late, you're late. You know what you need to do to make the hours up. If you don't make the hours up, you're not going to bill. Simple as
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to make the hours up, I'm not going to make you make the hours up, but don't come to me when your comms payments are down.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you come in and you're working your ass off and your comms payments are down, I'll cancel my week. I'll work with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
but don't come to me if you're not putting the hours in.
And I love that that idea that it isn't one size fits all, right?
No,
Um and as a leader, you need to understand which of my people like to do different things. Which of them love X, which of them
yep.
love Y. And if you try and say to everyone, this is exactly how you should do work, this is the most efficient
Mhm.
way to do work, you're almost certainly going to squeeze some square pegs in some round holes.
Yep.
Do you
That's
find
fucking
this? Sorry, yeah, yeah. Do you find the same thing when you're recruiting people? People are just trying to fit. Like, I need a warm body to fill a space rather than
We've
the
got a
right person.
we've got a contractor workforce. So we specialize boilermakers, mechanical fitters, diesel mechanics, doing a lot more logistic stuff as well. That's a growing division, starting to do accountants of all things of all people. We get all kinds of weird requests here. But
Yep.
yes, you do get that. Like you'll get a tradie who doesn't want to travel more than half an hour, or you'll get someone who only wants to do site-based work where you've got the perfect workshop position for him and he will not look at or she will not look at it because if for whatever reason they had this wonderful experience on site working this one project 3 years ago and they're trying to replicate it.
Yep.
Where I'm saying, I got this really good workshop based business. Yeah, I don't want to be, at the same location every. But anyway, people
Yeah.
get into these weird habits, and I guess us job as a recruiters is we need to challenge that thinking. And if you can challenge that thinking by knowing what you're talking about, being on point with the job duties, like just basic stuff like that. It's not. Trust me, recruitment is not rocket science. It's not rocket science, and it's it's really effectively identifying your candidate, identifying a client and doing that. And that's what the job is. But the skill is knowing what the candidate can do, knowing what the client needs, even if the client's telling you, I want something else. Well, that doesn't exist at that price. But this person over here does. What do you think of that? And then selling the benefits in together, absolutely. And that's what the skill of a good that's the difference between what's make a good recruiter to a great recruiter.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of, working with real estate people, and they say they ask the person, what do you want? Oh, we want a 4-bedroom house, has to have 2 bathrooms, has to have this, has to have that. But then they say, well, why? Oh, okay. And then they show them a 3-bedroom house that they love and they buy straight away because it wasn't actually the number of bedrooms. It was this other stuff around it. And I think it's similar, right? It's saying, well, hang on, what are you looking for? One of the things you talked about there was values. Does that come into that equation for you? And how did talk to me more about how you see this idea of values? Because it is something that's intangible. It's talked about a lot. Companies have values all over the place. Whether they live them or not is another good question.
They look good on the wall.
Well, yeah, they get ignored on the wall. I've seen plenty of faded posters on the wall. But what does it mean to you when we talk about values?
I'm going to be diplomatic in this. Is values have to be believed. Like they could be printed all over the place. They can be put in operations manuals. You can put them on the wall. You can put them in emails. You can put them on the manual of the company. But if your staff don't believe the values that the company stands for, you have a serious fucking problem on your hands. And values can be anything that the company agrees on what they are. And each company and each this, you hear a lot about ethics in recruitment and you hear a lot about, transparency. They should be just fucking givens. They shouldn't be values. Like and I get pissed off when companies say these are our corporate values. Yeah, but they're givens. Like you should be ethical with your clients and your candidates. You shouldn't just fucking rip them off blindly. You should have a transparent rate structure. You should declare if the candidate hasn't got a fucking qualification that they said they had on their CV. You should be doing all this shit. Values in every day in the life should be more about honesty. It should be more about build a value. We have a value at TRS Resourcing of building rapport with our clients. That's one of our values. Most of my clients, I talk to them via text because we've got that. I don't need to call you. You don't need to call me. What do we need to know? And I'll see them once a year. But it's like, what do you need? Right, cool. This is what I'm sending to you now. This is why I think you need to see them. Question mark. Yes, no. Why? Yes, thumbs up. Great. I'm booking him in for 3 o'clock tomorrow. Does that work? The job is really that fucking simple, but it's identifying what your client needs and what the candidate you have. But values are so important in the odyssey. I hate the word journey. Is the odyssey of the recruitment process or any sales process. You should be really discussing more about outcome, win-win solutions, not how much money you're trying to extract out of a client. I hate the fucking... Okay, so I'm actually trained by Jordan Belford. Okay, I went on Jordan's straight line training in 2011 before the movie came out. And Jordan was one who talked to me a lot about this value proposition and this key. But when I say train with, there was 3,000 other people in the room, but it still cost me 11 grand, which was a hell of a lot of money back in 2011. And it talks about making airtight cases. And in order to be successful in any sales role, anything with real estate agents, banking, finance, your values have to be what you believe in. If they align with the company, great. They should exceed the company values because that's how true leadership and that is how true performers shine to the top. Doesn't matter if they're Mavericks or Pirates or whatever. It's better to rein someone in than try to lift someone up because they've got poor value proposition.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. And look, it's just, I love exploring this space. Actually, this book down here I wrote is mainly about values, corporate values, organizational values. I'm totally with you. My favorite one is integrity. If you've got to tell people that they should have integrity, I think you're in big trouble.
You're so fucked. Someone's fucked up with the recruitment process.
100%. And also, I think you made a really good point, which sort of a distinction in my mind. when we've got pirates in some ways, we've got people who want to do things differently,
Yep.
but those things that they do have to be within the values of the organization. So if we
Yep.
say we're going to, if a value is we'll do what it takes to deliver on a promise, right? So
Yep.
we've said to someone we're going to get this to you, and we're going to do whatever it takes. If I've said to my people, look, the rule is you can't spend more than $1,000 without approval, but in this case, this person spends $1,500 to get this thing to the client because we promised, I would go, sure, you broke the rules, but you lived the values. You got my 100%,
Let's go for a beer, is what
yeah,
I would say.
exactly right. Well done. Well done.
Well done.
However, if it's like, well, I didn't spend the money because of the rules, but I broke the values because we didn't deliver, then I'm like, well, actually, we need to have a chat about that because the behavior was wrong. And yes, let's change the rules, but you're right, the behavior was wrong there. So it's a really interesting space, this whole idea of behaviors, values, KPIs. It's an interesting area.
I the thing that I look for, like when I'm employing staff at TRS Resourcing, is I don't look for proven experience. I run the traineeship program here. I look for people that get my attention. You know, and if people are watching this and they want to come work for TRS Resourcing, this is the key to come and to get in front of my face. You need to have a LinkedIn profile. Doesn't have to be great. I don't need to be all fucking. You need a LinkedIn profile. You also need to learn how to reach out to me without just an email. You also have to understand what TRS Resourcing stands for. It's my initials, by the way.
Yeah.
Uh, like, and that's about fucking it. I can train people, any business, anything. Like, this is what you train for. One skill I cannot train, and I've tried it so many times, is the willingness to pick up a telephone instead of sending an email.
Yep.
Pick up a phone, get on the phone. But I think us as leaders and trainers and all this corporate sort of stuff is you've got to identify what the issue is that you're trying to solve. And if you can identify that by going to the client says, we think this is the problem, but with your experience and your like intuition, you go, I actually think it's that. And this is why I think that. And this is, and if you can start having those sort of dialogues with your clients, you can knock all the competition out of the water. Like
Yep.
it's like you're done because the client has so much faith in what you do.
Yep.
So I have a client who's been looking for a trailer mechanic, with like big trailer mechanic for about a year. And they know that I'm on it and looking for the right guy, but we haven't found the one that's right for them right now. But they know that we will get it. If it takes another 6 months, it takes another 6 months. They're not screaming for it. But at the other side as well, especially in my game and probably in the games that companies that you play, is they all go to the path of least resistance. And that's not the way to build empathy with your clients. Like they'll go load up all the low lying fruit for them, but they won't get up into the tree and get that because it's too fucking hard, or I'm not going to make enough money on that deal. And that's not how you build empathy with your clients. Like you should be able to pick up a phone to a client, and that client will pick up the call because you're calling and they know it's important.
Yep. Yep.
But you
And you've
don't
got,
abuse that privilege.
yeah, that's right. You've got that understanding with them, and I think that's right. We walk around society, and we say to people, oh, "Hi, how's it going?" But we actually don't care what their response is. I
Yep.
mean, the right response is good. How are you? And this is like a little dance that we do with each other, and we know that that's not building any relationship with this other person. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, we take a similar approach to work stuff, right? What do you need? Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll go and find those widgets that you said you're looking for,
Yep.
and then they are, like we're more like a Mitre 10 relationship or a Bunnings relationship than
Correct.
we are what your business is, which is, hang on, I really want to actually understand what you're trying to achieve. What do
Yep.
you need from? Like, tell me more about that because. Well, you think you might need this little thing. Actually, there's a whole bunch of things around here that might be really important. And if we ignore them, I'm not going to get you what you really want.
Bang
Um,
on.
yeah, and look, that's again where I think whether we call it empathy or just curiosity, trying to actually understand people, building relationships with people. This is really, I think, the secret sauce. It sounds like to you and your business.
Yeah, it's all about building relationships with clients, but also delivering to them what they actually need, whether that's a tradie or this or that. But I always say the recruitment business is, and I take it back to my Perth days, and on the East Coast, they might get a bit confused with this. I compare recruitment to the iron ore business and the gold mining business. So iron ore, you dig it out of the ground, you put it in a crush, you send it on a train, you send it to the port, you send it to China, money made, and it's $150 a ton, whatever. Gold mining is we're sifting through tons and tons of dirt to find the specks of gold, hence why gold is worth more than iron ore. Recruitment's exactly the same thing. Like you're sifting through, you're finding not the perfect candidate for that client, but the best candidate that you have on any given day to that client, and you're actually telling the client in an empathetic way that that is what you have. I don't have the best candidate of all time, but today, this is what I've got.
Yeah.
I think because of this, this, and this reason. And then the client's going, okay, let's have a look at this person. Let's look at this. Because the reason why recruiters exist, because people ask me this all the time, are you worried about AI taking your job? No, I'm not. We use more AI at TRS resourcing than probably most recruitment companies out there, and we will continue to keep using it. Recruitment is a relationship business, and you are never going to replace that element of the game. Yes, you can talk to an AI chatbot. Yes, they will send you CVs that on this will send you this, 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 and this, or they'll send you someone that has similar things. We have no idea if this person is able to do this job. None at all. Whether they want to do this job. And that's the human side of it that we kind of will never be replaced.
Yeah, I think you're right. That whole do they actually want to do the job is so important. Early in my career, I was working with a project manager,
Yep.
and he put together this big Gantt chart and resource map and
Sounds
all
very
this stuff.
project management like. Yeah.
Oh, it
He's
was a
probably good
sexy.
with an Excel spreadsheet as well.
Oh, he loved them, loved them. Anyway, he had a column there with FTE in it, full-time equivalents, and a whole bunch of ones down this column and people's names next to them. And then they were mapped out against this project. And I said to him, what if they don't want to do the work? And he said to me, what? I said, well,
No.
you've got this guy here, Bill, and you've got him as a one. You've got him as a one for like 6 months on this project, but I know Bill. He's not always a one. Sometimes he's a 0.2. Sometimes he's a 1.5.
Sometimes
Depends
he's
on the
not there at
day.
all.
Yeah. So how do you manage? Like this is just mathematical, right? How do you manage that variability? Because that multiply that out, this could be a monstrous difference in productivity numbers. This isn't woo-woo. This is just maths, isn't it?
Was this project manager used to work for a very large organization and now is working for a smaller organization, but thinks that because he's like, well, what do you mean? Like,
Well, and this is the thing, right? We often work with big organizations. We talk about projects in a simulated environment, and we often say to people, "Oh, look, in the simulation, all projects are delivered on time and on budget." And everyone laughs because they know no project in the real world is delivered on time and on budget. And when you ask them why, they're like, "Oh, lots of technical issues." And I fundamentally believe the issue is we keep treating everyone as a one, and then we don't get them to be actually a one. Like we don't
yep,
manage that they're enjoying their work and doing their work well. So I think this whole space of you're right, AI can do a whole bunch of stuff, but
fucking great.
if it can't understand whether people want it, desire it, care about it, have relationships that build trust, we're in trouble, right?
We use AI all the time. And I'll tell you what AI is great for. If you're looking to make sure that you've got all the keywords and all the areas that you need to have on your LinkedIn profile for your given industry, it is great for that. ChatGPT 4 is great. You can ask it, I'm in this industry, and what are the key skills I need to make sure that's on my LinkedIn profile to make sure it sits at the top. And that's what AI is really good at. It's reset the bar, like the threshold, the foundational zero has been reset. Like
Yeah.
if you're not using AI for things like that, you will just be left behind because the SEO, the algorithm will start looking for these people, and that's great. Let's let more. I love more of that, but AI is never going to be empathetic. AI
Mm.
is not going to have core values. AI is just AI.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, our AI goes as dumb as F if it, like at some stages. Like we're looking at it and it comes back with this screen. We're like, what?
It doesn't
Like,
make any sense. Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. And like yesterday, it was just pumping out like exactly like exactly what we need. And today it's like it's having a bad day or something, or it got really drunk last night and it's hungover as hell today because I'm sitting there going, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? A friend of mine was looking for videos, links for videos, and it was popping a whole bunch of URLs in
Hmm.
that didn't exist. It was just making them up. And so again, when we come back to, hey, I can ask it lots of things, but if I really want advice I can trust, where do
Mm,
I go? And I think
correct.
that's where you go to people.
Exactly. Where do you go? What do you do? How do you do this? Where do we go? Like it's great as a resource tool, right?
Yeah.
But it will never, ever, ever, ever replace what people are saying it's going to replace. It's like I've been told for the last I've been in recruitment 23 years, and for the last 20 years I've been told I'm going to be out of a job soon.
Yeah. And look,
No,
you can't take me for a steak and a glass of red wine, but we'll have to catch up for one of those pretty soon.
done so.
One of the things I'll do, I want to ask you a few of the empathy card questions.
Done. Go ahead.
So the first one, as I said, these are just good to hear a
Yeah.
different perspective. What country would you really like to visit and why?
I want to do more of the US.
Okay.
So um, I've done a little bit of San Francisco, but yeah, I don't mind the US. I wouldn't mind doing more of that actually.
Okay. Okay.
Just to
Um,
check out. I've done a lot of Europe when I was living in London,
yeah.
but I never really did a lot of the States.
US is pretty diverse. Is there any particular type of experiences or areas you're keen on more or?
Definitely want to go down to Miami. I've got a couple of friends down there. Definitely wanted to see more of New Orleans. Texas is something of interest.
Yeah.
Chicago, New York. I've never really done that side. So, um, I'm not a big touristy sort of guy, but I prefer to move somewhere for a bit and just sort of experience
Yeah.
and sort
Yeah.
of become a local. Like
Yeah.
I live in Kew in here in Melbourne, and it's a bit villagey, and I like that. And I like I can walk to my local wine bar, and I know that everyone knows me, and I like bring my friends around. And if someone's looking for me and they can't find me, they know I'll be in the village somewhere. I love all that sort of shit. So
Yeah.
when I go, yeah, well, that's kind of what I want to do in the States as well. So I'll probably
Yeah.
go for a few months.
Nice. Nice. All right. Describe a time when you had to overcome a big challenge at work.
At work or in life.
Let's go either. Yeah. You.
I went bust at 36, owing $1.2 million with my recruitment company out of WA. That was pretty fucking full on and took me 4 years to get through that. You build a lot of resilience and stuff, but that was probably that was up there with my divorce. But
Yeah.
the liquidation, that was next level.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I'd love to hear more about that sometime. It's, you know,
I actually did a podcast with John on it, but I'll
you're
yeah,
right.
I'd happy more. Great to I can do it again with you if you want, mate. No problem.
Oh, look, I might even just find the link to John and add it as well because it's always fascinating to learn about that sort of stuff. Last one. What's something you're proud of but you don't often talk about?
I'd say TRS. I don't really
Yeah.
talk about the success of TRS a lot. I'm in it. Um, TRS and I have a very interesting relationship. I fell out of love with her last year. I'm very much back in love with her this year. Um, and like, yeah, I probably think, yeah, building TRS up. So I started the business with $5,000 seven a bit years ago, and out of my desk, one person desk in my Carlton apartment. I do miss my 10-foot commute to work. But yeah, that's probably proud of something I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome, mate. And look, congratulations on your success. It sounds like it's been,
Thank you.
ups and downs like all good lives are, and hopefully lots of ups to come in the future. As I
Thank you.
said, love to catch up when I come to Melbourne next. Let's grab
Done,
a
man.
steak and a wine and catch up in person. But thanks so much for being on the podcast, mate.
You're welcome. Thank you.